So today I'm going to show you how to read in a comma-separated file and how to then display the contents. And I'm going to try and show this to you, showing a few tricks along the way, things that you can do to make life a little bit easier. Now what I've got here is a ready-made file which I've created. I've created a constant for the file name because that's never going to change. I've got two empty lists. One of these is this one here is going to contain the list of records I'm going to build up from the file, and the other one is just going to contain one record at a time, and hopefully that will make sense as we go. In here I've got my sales file, which is saved in the same folder as the main program, and this is basically a list of four Switch games, and it shows the name of the game, how many millions it's sold since it was released, and its year of release. So there are three things there. They are separated with commas, and although you can't see it, there is a hidden new line character at the end of each one. So we need to do something about that. So what I want to do is to show you how to first of all get the file open, and then what we'll do is we'll start to read in the contents. So let's open the file. I'm going to use the read switch or option here because that's all we need to do. We don't want to change anything. And the other thing you want to do every single time you use files is just to close it off, just to make sure that that's closed away. Now what we're going to now do is we're going to do an iteration. So we're going to use iteration to loop through each line of the file. Now what you're used to using iteration for is in order to iterate through a list, but iteration can work for any data structure in Python, and a file is simply another data structure. So this is the for in structure. So for, we've got to give a name to whatever it is that we are getting from the file. So I'm going to call it each line because in a file iteration it reads it in as a line and reads it to a string, and we are going to go in file. So what that's going to do is go for every single line in the file, do these commands. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to strip out the new line character. Now the reason for doing this is because if we don't, we're going to end up with the new line character in our final list of records, and that's really awkward when we want to do anything with it or print it out properly. So nice easy way to do this. Each line, remember this is just a string, and we're going to change it so that each line removes the /n character. So every single /n it sees, it's going to remove it. The next thing we want to do is to turn that string, because this thing is simply a string, now with the /n removed, we want to turn that into a list. So we want to split the string by the comma. And we can do that very, very easily. But we want to save it somewhere. We want to put it into our records, our sales record. So sales record equals each line dot split. And we're going to split it on the comma. So now we've got a new record which has got all of the data in it from one line. So it's got Mario Kart 48.41 2017, and it's been put into list. And just to show you that that's working, I'm just going to print out the sales record just so you can see what the effect of this has been, and then I'll remove that. So what I'm just doing is testing it as I go along just to see that I haven't made any major cock-ups here. There we go. So as you can see at the bottom, it's going through every single line in the file, and it looks like it's saved each one into a new list. Now at the moment, the way it's reading them in is you can see that it reads them all in as strings. So if we want to do something cleverer to it, which we might do later on, then we're going to have to do some conversion. But at the moment, it's just a set of strings, and that's fine for today. The next thing I want to do is to add this new record to my sales list. So add the new record to the sales list. And that's going to make it really flexible later on for me to do any kind of searches on it or any kind of filtering, or to question the records and find out what's inside them. And that's very easy to do. All we're going to do is do sales list. It's a list, so we can just do an append sales record, and that just adds it to the sales list, which was empty before, but now becomes a two-dimensional list because each row is a new record. So let's see now if we can print out this whole thing and see what we can get. So what we're going to do is we're going to iterate through the sales list, and we're going to print it out in one go. Now there's lots of other things we could do with this. We could make it work a bit better, we could make it a bit prettier, but at the moment we're just going to keep it really simple. So for each sale in sales list, we're going to do the following. We're going to go print, and I'm not going to worry about making it pretty. I'm just literally going to show you how you can start to put it together. So each sale, let's get the first position. I'm just going to put a space in here just so it's a bit easier. I'm then going to put my second thing in, so there's each sale one. And then finally my third thing, which if you remember is the year of release. And hopefully what that should do is print out each record. There we are, one after the other. You can see there are spaces in between, so it's definitely this. It's not showing as before the list, but this time it's showing the actual printout, and now it's showing me that actually that whole list has got all those records in it. And there's another way I can check here. I can try to do this. So sales list, and now you can see that you've got that record in there as well. Now obviously there are issues. This should be, for example, a floating point number. This should be an integer, so it's not perfect, but that shows you how you can read in the records from a file.